such a pleasure to be joining you right here on the India Development Debate on ET Now. I'm Supriya Shrinate, and straight on to a big debate this evening. It really is curtains on the Bansal era as far as Flipkart is concerned. In an unexpected turn of events, Walmart today did let go of Binny Bansal as the Flipkart Group CEO with immediate effect following an investigation of an alleged personal misconduct. Now, Walmart, which owns a majority stake in India's largest online marketplace, says although Bansal has denied all allegations and it hasn't been a conclusive probe, he has a responsibility to go, and this will ensure that the investigation was thorough. Shockingly enough, Walmart's statement says that the probe revealed lapses in judgment from Binny's part, particularly a lack of transparency. Remember, the other Bansal, the other co-founder Sachin, was eased out of following Flipkart's takeover of Walmart and Binny's virtual exit. It's all but over for the founder promoters of Flipkart, which will now be run by Kalyan Krishnamurthy, who will take over as the Flipkart CEO. The sudden exit of Binny Bansal from the driver's seat at Flipkart is what we are discussing, and the larger ramifications of this in the Indian startup space. Right here on the India Development Debate this evening, I've got an eminent panel of speakers right here. Abha Singh, senior lawyer, joins us. Srijit Mulayal, co-founder and COO, True Elements, and of course K. Vaidiswaran, founder, India Plaza, and author of Failing to Succeed. Thank you very much, each one of you, for joining us. And if I may begin with you, Vaidi, in many ways, Binny Bansal has had to quit as Flipkart's Group CEO because of what they say lapses in judgment expressed while dealing with an allegation of quote-unquote serious personal misconduct. Is it safe to say this evening that his exit is Indian industry's first big Me Too casualty?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the first from an industry point of view. Certainly in the startup ecosystem, it is not just the first, but it is also a huge one, because Binny Bansal is one of the people that the entire startup ecosystem has been looking up to over the years for building such a successful startup in a short period of time. And something like this is certainly a massive setback as far as the ecosystem is concerned from a reputation point of view. So certainly for the from a Me Too point of view, for the ecosystem, I think this is really big and impactful. And it's quite sad though.
And given the fact, absolutely, and given the fact that he was one of the iconic founders of a product like Flipkart, I mean, one of India's most successful startup stories, so to say. But Srijit, let me come to you. Binny says in his statement, and this has also been quoted by Walmart and everybody else, it says events relate to a claim of serious misconduct made against him, and the event uncorroborated after thorough investigation by independent law firm. My question then is, why did he have to quit? If this wasn't a conclusive probe that did prove the allegation in its entirety, why did he have to go then?
Supriya, I mean, though, from an opinion standpoint, I don't know more facts, but being a founder, I would tell you, Binny was to go someday, because you have been acquired, your say is too limited, your stake is too limited. You have skin in the game, but not what you used to have before. So you are no more a founder. You don't take the final call. So he had to go someday. I don't know whether he just used this as an opportunity to exit out. I would want to believe that, because as the Walmart press statement says, though there is no conclusive evidence, then legally Binny need not have to go. But yeah, morally, he being the CEO for a fair trial, he would have to step down and come back, as he has not chosen to temporarily move out and come back, which was the option which Chanda Kochar excites for some time. As he didn't opt for that, he just pulled out. I would believe he was just waiting for an opportunity, and this probably was the opportunity. He thought that, yeah, let me move out, because even if you just reflect back, the way Sachin was moved out at the time of acquisitions, being a founder, I didn't feel nice at the way in which it was handled. So that's my personal opinion. But I would want to believe, as there is no conclusive evidence, he didn't have to legally go. Morally, he might have to step back for some time. But he chose as an opportunity to just move out and exit and start something new. So he just chose the option, or chose the right opportunity.
I don't know if the right opportunity is coming at a huge cost. I mean, this does damage his reputation. It's coming at what quote unquote is being called lapse of judgment and serious personal misconduct. But Abba, I want you to wear your lawyer's hat here and really answer that question, because while global law firm could not prove the charge conclusively, and which is perhaps why Binny Bansal is going to stay on as a director on the board and also keep his stake, it wasn't conclusive. Is both what Walmart is saying, and that's exactly what Binny Bansal is also reiterating. Given this wasn't a conclusive probe, why do you believe he's had to step down? I mean, I'm purely asking you to look at through the legal prism, so to say.
You know, what jurisdiction does a law firm have to decide whether it was a criminal misconduct or it was a grave misconduct? That under the CRPC is given to the police. So law firm does not have any ground, and its recommendation holds no water, no ground. So let me tell you, it's not an opportunity. When Walmart comes out and says a personal grave misconduct, and that is an lapse of judgment, they are clearly trying to just take the administrative shortcut and ask him to step down. This does not absolve him of the criminal misconduct, because if it is a Me Too issue, if it is a sexual harassment, then the law has to take its own course. Just because MJ Akbar stepped down, it doesn't absolve him of the criminal misconduct. In fact, I think the police has to step in. Police is not doing its duty. Either it is due to the political connections of these corporates, or a lot of money has exchanged hand between the police and these sexual offenders, because I'm appalled and surprised that no criminal action has been taken. Fine, he has stepped down, but why is an FIR not being registered? It is the job of the police to investigate and file a charge sheet. So his stepping down clearly shows that something has happened which they know, and they are trying to bury the issue so that the reputation, because ultimately the corporates are here only to earn money, and anything which affects their profits, they are very clear. Their ethical committee tells them, bury the issue, bury the issue. And this is what is being done when Binny Bansal is stepping down. But it does not absolve him of the criminal misconduct.
All right. Okay. Okay, just hold that thought there. That's an interesting point that you're bringing to the debate, that if there is a misconduct, why is it not being taken care of by the law agencies, and why is the law firm giving a clean chit or not such a clean chit? But give me a minute now, because I want to go across to Vaidi. And Vaidi, the investigation into Flipkart Group CEO and of course now erstwhile Flipkart Group CEO Binny Bansal that led to his resignation stems from an allegation of sexual assault apparently that dates back a few years, and this complainant wasn't a Flipkart employee at the time of making the allegations. And to me that is very heartening. It wasn't somebody who was within Flipkart making that heartening. Is this the new normal? Is this a new a new normal for Indian industry as well, where allegations of misconduct will be made and heeded to, despite some years being lapsed, despite the employee not being a part of the organization? Is this a new normal, and is this to the credit of the whole Me Too debate? Vaidi.
Yes, I think so, and I think it is good. You know, one of the complaints against the Me Too movement has been, and it's not just to corporate but across the Me Too movement, has been that perhaps the ladies who are being harassed and mistreated by people more powerful and people above them have taken their own sweet time. Many years have passed by and then they come back. But you know, I would look at it very differently. The fact that today we are enabling an atmosphere for women to come out in the open and share such information, which actually must be extremely painful and difficult for the ladies involved, I think is a great step forward. So I wouldn't hold it against anybody that they've taken so much of time. The fact that several years have lapsed, to me is just a matter of detail. The fact that such a statement is being put out, that we are slowly but steadily enabling an atmosphere, providing women to come back and openly share this information, I think is a great step forward, not just for corporate India, but across industry, every single industry, people, media, movies, we have seen them. Hopefully, people will realize that you cannot misuse power and hope to get away with it. And I think it's just a great step. To me, the fact that a few years have passed is just a matter of detail. It just doesn't matter. They came out and said it, and I think we have to salute those people.
No, I'm impressed with what you say, that, you know, it's a salute to the people. It's great that this is happening even after so many years have passed. But Srijit, would this have happened if Walmart wasn't in the picture? I mean, Walmart, for all practical purposes, is a US listed entity, one of the largest listed companies in the world. It is subject to SEC regulations. Their norms are more stringent. Would an action like this have been taken if it was just an Indian corporate? Or do you believe this has happened because there is a Walmart in the picture?
I think even if it was Walmart was in picture, the result, if it is a Me Too case, which I don't know, which is not there in anywhere the press statement, but still, if it is the case, the result would have been similar, because if you look at the instances of cases, AIB shut, many startups are facing the heat. So it is not about the size of the company, it's not about a US listed entity. I think, as Vaidhi sir have rightly put, at least our corporate environment have matured to handle this stuff. The result would have been same if that is the case, which I don't know. I think even if it's a small startup, if it's a big MNC, US, Indian, local, I think as long as you have an ethical board, you are answerable to community, you are there and out in media, you don't have any other way. I mean, you have to get the right decision, whatever it is. In this case, if Binny felt morally he has to step out and step down, that's what he did. I don't think it is not because there is a Walmart there. Flipkart without Walmart also would have done the same stuff. Would have been much higher, because
I certainly hope so. I'm not very sure. Right.
So Supriya, I agree, because now
I certainly hope they would have done the same stuff. Go ahead, Srijit.
Yeah, because investors right now support Walmart decision because they have got an exit. Everybody, there is nobody's food is on the table, right? It's only Walmart. If Walmart wouldn't have been there, Tigers,
yes,
global money would have been at stake. So God knows.
But let me get in a legal perspective from Abha Singh. And, you know, this allegation came on board in late July. That's when it was a claim of sexual assault against Binny, is what we've been told by, sources. But yes, this allegation came in late July, an investigation began. What doesn't add up is that the deal closure happened by the end of August. Why was Binny Bansal not asked to leave then? And why did Walmart not make, why did Walmart not make it public then? Because they would have feared that the deal will be jeopardized. Is it convenient to act now? Because the two things don't add up. If they were so particular about this, then they should have come to light the moment that complaint came. This complaint is now coming very, conveniently in November. Why was it not made when the deal was going through?
Because as I told you, the corporates only are here to make profits, and they wanted to bury the issue. They didn't want it to go out of proportion. But when a minister of the ruling government is made to step down in a Me Too issue, I think they had no other option. And now when there's a public outcry, the women have gathered courage to come forward and register their issues, speak about it. And let me tell you, there's a No Limitation Act in a matter of crime. If a crime has happened 15 years back, there are Supreme Court rulings which say that the delay can be condoned if you can justify or prove the facts that that crime did happen. So it is not a civil thing that is bound by a limitation act. So nobody can say that why you are coming after 10 years. It is always upon the victim. She may not have had the courage to come. She would have not got the support. But after Tanushri Datta's issue, when it gathered momentum, people came forward. I think the women have had the courage. So Binny Bansal steps down at a time when the corporates also know, Walmart also knows that their reputation will be destroyed. When the AIB roast people have been thrown out of the company on Me Too issues, I think it had to do it because it would have affected their business also. Because I am sure if the 50% of the population, which is the female population, decides to boycott your product, you are not going to survive. But what again I raise the issue, why only stepping down? You know what the Sexual Harassment Act says of 2013, that where is the Internal Complaints Committee? This issue should have come to the Internal Complaints Committee, and it was the responsibility of the Internal Complaints Committee to refer to the matter to the police if it was an offence under 509, violating the modesty of a woman, or sexual harassment under 354. So ICC also needs to be questioned.
Fair point. Okay. Okay, fair point. But let me just turn the focus to the deal, to what happens in the organization structure and all of that. Where the Walmart says that Binny Bansal was working on a transition in any case and the incident has only accelerated his exit. Does it bring to light and to note the fact that iconic Indian startups will see exit of high-profile CEOs and founders once big investors like Walmart really come in? Is this a given?
Well, yes and no. The fact of the matter is that when a startup gets acquired by a large corporate giant, it's a reasonably safe assumption to make that sooner rather than later, the founder or the founding team will exit and step out. Having said that, I am not fully convinced that anyway Binny Bansal was going to step down sooner rather than later and this accelerated. I mean, the word accelerated, I think he would have probably continued for the next few years. It's not that he was going to step down in the next few months and it got accelerated. I think he probably would have continued for the next at least 2-3 years, given the fact that the other co-founder had just left when the deal happened. I have a feeling that this decision for him to step down is not just an acceleration of the process, but certainly a setback to their overall organization plans. I don't think this was part of the plan. Saying that anyway he is going to step down in a few months, might as well do it now. I think that anyway stepping down was at least 2-3 years away. I think so. So this certainly be a setback from an organization point of view. That would be my assessment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Srijit, if I may ask you this question, and I think Vaidy points us out in the right direction, that this is going to be an organizational, setback for Flipkart in the plans there. But does something like this, the fact that Walmart says he was in any case eventually going to go, will this make founders wary of deals with multinationals and big strategic investors? And is it also a sad ending to one of the most iconic startups in the country? I mean, Sachin also left under a cloud, and now Binny Bansal's exit is also unceremonious.
Supriya, just I don't think it will be a sad ending for the company Flipkart. Flipkart will go places with Walmart there, yeah, but it's obviously a sad ending for the founders. But there are two kind of founders to me. One who want to get an exit and go do something else. One who want to live the business throughout his life. So depends upon what Binny was. If Binny's plan was to build and Flipkart to an Amazon size globally and take it, that only he can tell. But I would partially agree to what Vaidy sir is telling. If his plan in near term was to exit, he would have taken out most of his stake at the time of the transaction, which he didn't. Only Sachin took his money out. So he was obviously planning to continue for some time. I'm sure he will not continue for long, because being a founder with that, because his startup angel investment portfolio speaks that he want to be engaged with a lot of startups, and as such he would have gone and done something or supported something. But it is probably more than faster than what he himself thought. But it's not an end. It's not a sad ending for the startup Flipkart. It is obviously a sad ending for the founders Bansals, both, because both of them had a not so nice end.
Oh yes, which is precisely why we are calling it the end of the Bansal era at Flipkart. But Vaidy and Ava Singh, indulge me a little more, because I'm just going to try and get some questions out of them. And in any case, we're going to see you back in our next debate, Sabrimala. But just indulge me for a minute. And Vaidy, the question is, was it an unhappy marriage to begin with? I mean, that's the question many people will ask, and that's something that I think both of you have referred to tangentially. Walmart is a US-based company, process-driven. Was this a culture clash of sorts? Was this inevitable? Instead of taking us by surprise, different styles of leadership. Once you're no longer the founder, you're not calling the shots are being called by processes and people from Walmart. And the larger question also is that, will this further put pressure on Flipkart at a time when Amazon is snapping at its heels?
There are two different issues. If Binny Bansal had to go, he would have gone with dignity, not with a stigma. When it says a personal grave misconduct,
okay,
so that stigma which goes with it, it has nothing to do with business ethics. And you see, any MNC, they spend millions of dollars in brand building. They would not like their brand to be destroyed by a Me Too sexual harassment case.
To be destroyed like that. Okay, fair point. Just hold there. Take the question that I asked. Is this going to make it tougher for Flipkart at a time when Amazon is snapping at its heels? And of course, the larger question is, was this a given the different styles of leadership that one would have seen between an Indian startup and a conglomerate like Walmart?
Yes. I think there are two parts to it. I mean, whenever a startup gets acquired by a very large corporate, the first thing that you can be reasonably sure of is there will be a clash of process, there will be a clash of cultures. There's an organization, a startup that is being built in a certain manner, and then this very large multinational giant comes up. You can safely assume that there is going to be a clash of culture, and it's not easy to suddenly become, in that sense, an employee following processes instead of driving the vehicle that you were so far. So that is a safe assumption to make. Specifically in this case, I have no doubt that this will actually make it tougher for Walmart to actually get ahead of Amazon. I mean, this is a distraction. I'm sure Walmart will say that Binny Bansal was anyway planning to quit and the organization is bigger than individuals. But the fact of the matter is, in a startup, see, in large organizations are larger than the individuals. In such iconic small startups which have been driven by a couple of founders and reached this level, it's not the same thing. I mean, the founders leaving in this kind, under this kind of a cloud, certainly sets it back. It's a massive distraction for the organization. And while they recover, you can be absolutely sure that somebody like Amazon is going to fully utilize this opportunity and, in that sense, completely enjoy the benefits of this distraction for Flipkart, and actually become deeper and deeper into the Indian market. So I think certainly it's going to impact Walmart's efforts in India as far as Amazon is concerned. I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt Amazon will take advantage of the situation.
And in this cutthroat competitive market where every click matters, you're not going to blame them either for doing this. But Srijit, can Flipkart still nurture hopes of being a listed company, or will it really be a large company managed by the headquarters back home for Walmart?
It can, because in terms of size and opportunity and in terms of Walmart backing, it can be a listed company. Though there is going to be a setback for Flipkart, but actually since last 1 year, Kalyan has been driving it. Krishnamurthy has been driving the company, and Myntra has been run separately, Jabong is run separately, PhonePe is run separately. So impact may not be that much in long term. That's what I would interpret. Obviously, there will be at least there will be distraction in the senior leadership because of this kind of an exit, not because of exit. This kind of an exit, there will be some setback, but it may not be long term because thanks to Tiger's way of succession planning, they have done it almost in a year and a half back, right? So I don't think impact will be too much. And as such, Flipkart can look at a listing, but I don't think Walmart would want to do that because they could not take Amazon head on in the US.
Okay,
it's an opportunity in India, which is one of the largest emerging market. So they would want to go full and attack Amazon and probably look at it.
Fair point. I think you're okay. I think it's a little bit of a technical glitch there. I'll give Mr. Vaidhi the last word, and then we end this. We come back with Sabrimala in just a minute from now. But Vaidhi, what will Binny actually do with his stake? He's publicly stated that he's going to keep his stake. He will also stay on the board. As a large shareholder, isn't that going to be a distraction as well, to be in an uncomfortable position, continue on the board, keep your stake? I mean, isn't that a further distraction? Okay, you're not the CEO, but look at the damage this has done. Should he retain his stake at all? And will he?
Well, these are actually two different matters. His personal shareholding in the company is a matter of his own ownership, and I think what he does with the stake or what he doesn't do with the stake is something that he will decide going forward. My assessment, and I may be wrong here, I don't know much about what's happened. I mean, we're all trying to grapple with what's breaking today, but I suspect this continuing on the board may be a very short-term thing. I'm not sure that this will continue for a long period of time. There may be other investigations, more news will come out. We'll see how things pan out. I have a feeling that this board, being on the board perhaps is not a long-term thing. The stake is his personal stake. What he does with the stake is something that anyway is for him to determine, and really nothing impacts that. I think they're two unrelated matters. I'm not sure he's going to be on the board for too long. I think so. I may be wrong.
Okay, fair point indeed. But thank you very, very much, Srijit, Vaidi, and of course Abha Singh for being with us on what is clearly a big moment as far as Indian industry is concerned, and especially the Indian startup ecosystem. Flipkart has seen the end of the Bansal era. First, Sachin Bansal bowed out when the Walmart deal happened, and now on charges of personal misconduct, Binny Bansal quits as well. Of course, Kalyan Krishnamurthy will take over the position as CEO, but the reality is that this is going to be a distraction and a setback for Flipkart, Walmart as they take on competition head-on from Amazon.